Ask Tom on Home Show.
George from Cyprus has a burning question.
Well, he's looking at putting an offer on an almost perfect home, Tom. George writes, the good news is it's entirely renovated. The bad news is because of a fire. I reviewed the inspector's report with the photos before the drywall, and all the items were addressed except for these brick and mortar cracks on the exterior wall. Would you consider buying this home, Tom, and what would you do to ensure that it's a solid home?
I actually have a personal background in this exact question. I had a house that burned down, and I remodeled, and I still own it today. And it's in 10 times better shape after I rebuilt it than it was before because it's brought up to today's standards. So in that case, it's actually can be a real a bonus to you. You're getting a newer home in an older neighborhood and have the best built home there. And in most cases, that's what happens. Now, the question about the brick, and this came up with me too, I had 3 really bad cracks in the brick after my fire. And I knew, because I knew the house before they weren't there and then after they were, that it was all because of the expansion of the bricks popping from the heat. And so it caused damage that I didn't fix for quite a while. I'd say maybe 4, 5, 6 years. And then I finally had a brick restoration company come out and they fixed it all and it looks fantastic. It was old brick. Now, that made me think of, I wish I had just taken the whole house down when it burned down instead of trying to save pieces of it. So if that ever happens again, you might just take the old brick off and go ahead and re-brick with new brick. But in this case, you can probably have it fixed, and it has nothing to do with foundation problems. So would I buy it? The answer is yes, because I understand it. Now, maybe you do too. Also, a house is probably built better, and brick will crack and move around during a fire from the heat. That's very common.
Now, when this happens, Tom, when you buy a house that's had a fire in it, what would you look for in a house? I mean, the things you check, obviously, is that you want to make sure it doesn't smell, but what other concerns should you have if a house has had a fire?
Well, it depends how bad of a fire it was, and it sounds like this one probably was. So did they replace the entire electrical system? Chances are they just rewired the whole house. Any of the plumbing above ground, was it all replaced? Chances are it was. Those are the kind of things you're getting. You're actually getting brand new systems in a home, but you can ask those questions. If it's just one room, then it wouldn't be quite the same. But I think in this case, it sounds like the house was done pretty poorly. So that's what you're looking at. And as far as the structure and whatnot, if there was pictures and you can see, it's not a big deal to replace 2x4s and stuff that are burned up. So that's pretty simple to do. So it's not as bad as people would make it out to be. In fact, I think it's actually a plus. Like I said, it's all brand new framing, new techniques, new electrical. That means you probably have a new breaker box. If you have a new panel, chances are you've got all new wiring too. So it's all brought up to today's standards and codes, which is pretty common. So I really don't think it's a bad thing. It's terrible for the owner, and I was the owner, but it's not necessarily bad for the buyer. And the person that buys my home in this old neighborhood I live in, they're going to get the best built home in the neighborhood because the other ones are still built from 1968 to 72 standards, and mine was in a year 2000 standard.
It's actually built to a Tom Tynan standard.
Well, mine is a little bit better than some, but
better.
Yes. But it's still got the new
Right.
electrical system that up to code. You know, you still have the inspections. So it should go through pretty well. I don't think there's a lot to worry about.
You got a question for Tom? Go ahead and go to HomeShowRadio.com, click on the Ask Tom button, fill out the form, send the question, and we'll answer it just like this one.